Good morning, dear friends. We're so happy that you are joining us. I love seeing some Sanghas gathering here and there. Thank you for being with us. We are so lucky today to have all of the members of the Caretaking Council here and our coordinator, our community coordinator. Each of us will be sharing a little bit today about how the Earth Holder community is moving forward. And we hope that what you will walk away from from today is maybe some inspiration, maybe feeling our connectedness. And perhaps many of you will walk away with having a sense of where you can join us, where you can come be part of us and take on one small piece. There are many on this call who already do that, and we're looking forward to more of you joining us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Tay, who is the chair of the Caretaking Council of the Earth Holder community. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be with you this morning. So happy that we can be together for our annual meeting of the Earth Holder community. We've been meeting together for a long time, our CTC, and discussing ways we might move forward mindfully. And you'll hear a lot more about that as the morning progresses. I'd like to invite the sound of the bell to bring our teacher and our practice right to the fore. So please listen, dear friends. The sound of the bell is the voice of awakening, calling us home to this very moment. So dear friends, we're delighted to be with you this morning and to share with you the results of our work that we've been doing over the last year to develop a mindful way forward for our dear Earth Holder community. The Caretaking Council has worked on this over the past year, and we look forward to sharing the results of our work with you and hearing your comments and your suggestions. There's much here for all of us to step into, so I'm delighted that each of you are here. Also, over the last few months, we've been taking the step to have an Earth Holder coordinator. And I'm pleased and delighted to introduce to you Simona Koala-Duba, our Earth Holder community coordinator. And she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. So Simona, please talk to us.
Dear friends, dear Sangha, it is a joy today to see all of your faces on this call. My heart is smiling in seeing everyone connected through this approach to the Earth Holders. And so yeah, just a little bit about myself. As Michelle said, my name is Simona Koala-Duba, and I prefer the pronouns she, her, and hers. I identify as biracial. I am Andean European, Andean being Tiwanaku from the area of South America, the Andes of South America, and European, I am Polish and Irish as well. And today I am phoning in or videoing in from the mountains of Colorado. I'm in a town called Leadville, which is I'm at 10,200 feet right now. It is a small mining town, which is very much like my home in Peru, also a mining town in the area of Moquegua. And a little bit about where I'm at right now is that I just recently got back to the United States, got back to Colorado. And for a while, I was in Asia. I was there for 2 years in Bhutan. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I have felt so inspired by being able to have an international connection with people around the world, especially around their love for our precious Mother Earth. And that is what delights me. And that is what brings me excitement and energy about the Earth Holders community, is that even right now, I'm seeing familiar faces from around the United States and abroad as well. I see some familiar faces from France. And I think this speaks very directly to what is so necessary and needed right now for the healing of the human nature relationship, is that we're all needed and that we're all connected in this. And this is just a precious gift to be able to phone in and energize each other. So this is something that makes me feel alive, is being able to reach into my own source and of grief and pain that I feel around the current climate crisis, and being able to connect with people about how that can turn into power and strength. And through connection is where I find that power and strength. And so it has already been such a pleasure to be able to do this. I've been in the coordinator role for about a month now, and have already been able to collaborate and talk with Earth Holders from around the world. And so I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I am so grateful to be connected with you all, and I welcome all of you to reach out to me. I'll be putting my email in the chat, and I'll be putting that in there multiple times, so please feel free to contact me with a hello or anything that you might be feeling right now. It's a welcome. And yeah, I'm smiling right now to see you all. I'm smiling to the sunshine and sparkly snow outside of my window. I'm just delighted to be able to be here with you all. And with that, I think I will turn the call over to my dear sister Michelle and brother Andrew for talking about the North Star. So thank you all so much.
So dear friends, I think we're still looking at Simona, but soon we will be looking at me. I like looking at Simona. And the North Star. And in Thai's tradition, we so deeply value the example of the Buddha, the encouragement and knowledge that we receive from the Dharma, and also our togetherness, our Sangha. And so as practitioners in the Plum Village tradition of mindfulness and engaged Buddhism, we embrace ways we can protect each other and all beings and the earth. The Earth Holder Caretaking Council over the last year has developed a mindful way forward action plan. And some of us who are on the call worked with John Bell on this and others. And so the Caretaking Council has embraced this mindful way forward action plan for growing and strengthening our community. And you'll hear a lot more detail about this as we move on this morning. This plan includes many ways for you as an earth holder to be part of this community, to step in and strengthen our community, and to become more engaged and effective and happy ways of coming together, both regionally, locally, and nationally, to work for protecting and caring for our dear Mother Earth. In addition, we've begun a process to explore climate justice, racial justice, and social justice. So I invite now my brother Andrew, Andrew Deckert, who will share more details about this Earth Holder Community Initiative regarding racial justice.
Thank you, Michelle. Dear Thai, dear Sangha, I'm happy to be with you here today. It's sunshiny. I'm speaking from the traditional lands of the Wintu and Achumawi peoples near Mount Shasta, California. And I would like to share with you a little bit about our efforts and looking forward and our mindful way forward around how racial and earth justice enter are. When I look to the teachings for myself, if I am to wholeheartedly embrace, practice, and deepen interbeing, upeksha or inclusivity, compassion, and metta or love for all, then I feel called to fully include Mother Earth on whom we all depend, and all humans in their ultimate and historical dimensions, with our human particularities, identities, and differences seen, deeply listened to, learned from, and celebrated, and to seek to mindfully and lovingly disrupt systems of oppression in my circles of influence, as I do the lifelong inner work of unlearning, relearning, and healing. I'd like to share a story of part of my learning. I learned about how Cleveland's polluted Cuyahoga River sparked national outrage when it caught on fire in 1969. And when we moved to current times in the same city, Tamar Rice, a 12-year-old Black boy, was killed by 2 police officers in a park in 2014, neither of whom were indicted, which is part of a series of killings of unarmed Black people, sparking Black Lives Matter and Say Her Name. What do these 2 events have in common to me? Well, a water source polluted enough to catch on fire, and killing of Black and brown young people of all genders inter-are. Both water and people are caught in a system that often considers them disposable, consciously or not. And this is replicated in ways all over the US. Whose lives matter? Who controls our future? What does security mean as rising tides, floods, heat waves, mega wildfires, and hate abound? And who deserves that security? We're pretty aware that the nations around the world currently feeling the blunt force of climate change tend to be poorer and browner than the countries that contributed the most greenhouse gas emissions. But climate disruption also impacts the marginalized and oppressed in the US differentially. For example, the first 2 communities that had to move their whole entire community due to sea level rise in Turtle Island or North America were indigenous communities in Alaska and Louisiana. May we also think together of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, or the wildfire in my city last year, which burned 1,300 homes, killed 8, including young children, and the Camp Fire nearby, which burned 14,000 homes, killed 86, mostly poor, differently able, and elders just months ago. Not to mention the toxic smoke and ash from burning so many homes and cars with all their plastics and chemicals, differentially impacting those with less access to health care. And the same political forces defending fossil fuels are also escalating attacks on immigrants and refugees. As 350.org says, there is no justice for our planet without justice for our people. The US branch of Extinction Rebellion, which plans peaceful climate actions across the US beginning tomorrow through the 22nd, includes in its demands a just transition that prioritizes the most vulnerable people and indigenous sovereignty, establishes reparations and remediation led by and for Black people, indigenous people, people of color, and poor communities for years of environmental injustice, and a just transition that establishes legal rights for ecosystems to thrive and regenerate. What is just transition? Well, in my learning from Climate Justice Alliance, a Black, indigenous, people of color-led network whose link is on every Earthholder webpage, just transition means a shift from an extractive to a regenerative economy, redressing past harms and creating new relationships of power for the future. If the process of transition is not just, the outcome will never be. So climate change can't be solved through personal choice alone, as important as that is. We need system change, not climate change. There is no climate solution without climate justice. And feeling all this, seeing all this, what comes up for me? Well, fear, anger, despair, grief, determination, courage, all of those things arise in me with this. And I watch them mindfully. And I ask you for 3 breaths to look inside what comes up for you. One antidote to despair is to think global, organize local, and act personal. And if direct action is not in my wheelhouse, and I'm more on the build or be side of Buddhist Peace Fellowship's Block Build B, then I could consider mindful fundraising or mindful volunteering to support those engaged in non-violent direct action. And our youth and our wake-up age communities are not waiting. Young people representing Earth Guardians, Youth versus Apocalypse, and Sunrise Movement participated in a global student strike for climate last month, perhaps 1 million strong, inspired by 16-year-old Greta Thunberg, who started Climate Fridays in front of the Swedish Parliament in August. As a teen participant in this global student strike, Maya said, "Young people will not wait for old world politics to keep moving chess pieces around." And our youngest member of Congress, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, said this month about climate change, "To think that we have time is such a privileged and removed from reality attitude." And then there's the 21 young people, nearly half youth of color, who have sued the US in Juliana versus the US for violating youth rights to liberty and life by encouraging activities that promote climate change and calls for reducing greenhouse gases. They won their first battle at court, and their next hearing is at the Federal Court of Appeals June 4th in Portland. Whereas Aisha Clark, a 16-year-old woman of color who recently confronted California Senator Dianne Feinstein regarding the Green New Deal, said to all of us, "Climate change is an intersectional issue. We need to centralize the voices of Native youth and youth of color. We need to show up for racial justice and economic justice in our communities. We must align with both science and justice." So the Earthholder Community Caretaking Council has recognized that we've made some mistakes, including our initial formal launch in 2015 as mostly white OI, initially having links on our website to environmental organizations mostly white-led. We had not done a racial justice organizational self-assessment until recently, and we do not have a sharp and shared racial and social justice analysis framework, though we aim to do so now. Over the last couple of years, we've taken some baby steps, and many of those are on our website, and I will just share a few of them that may be relevant to some of you. All 4 Earthholder community in-person retreats from 2014 to 2018 have offered scholarships for people of color, youth, and our LGBTQIA community. Every person who has requested a scholarship has received the full amount requested. Our CTC made a decision to open the CTC to 4 to 6 Black, Indigenous, people of color new members in 2019, with a goal of 50% people of color. And so you can expect a call for participation letter in the next few months. We sent a letter to 8 POC Plum Village Dharmacharyas acknowledging our mistakes and asking for guidance, and have met with them over a couple of meetings. And we have agreed to study individually and collectively Ruth King's Mindful of Race, including reflection questions. And we have committed to developing a demographic and earth-holding interest survey of our members, our 1,800 folks on our mailing list, and are inviting volunteers to help with this effort, which we hope to launch in the fall this year. And finally, we are committed to creating a multiracial cohort of regional Earthholder ambassadors to offer local Earthholder days of mindfulness and Sangha visits. So stay tuned for an announcement about becoming a regional Earthholder ambassador. I'd like to end with a few quotes. And this one is paraphrased from one of our senior Dharmacharyas. When we are caught in, we have to do this, not that, or we have to do this first, not that first, that is dualistic mind. Similarly with centering of whiteness or centering of human species. How do we see we are all selves with distinct identities in one body, one hand of Avalokita, or one node on the Reverend Dr. MLK's web of mutuality, and thus experience less separation? The value of rich, healthy ecosystems for us all. The value of rich, healthy human systems for us all. The wisdom of biodiversity and human inclusivity and liberation. Both and. Another quote from Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams. The reason we continue to degrade the earth is that we continue to degrade each other. And finally, to close, from Zenju Earthland Manual. Within the beloved teachings, I hold myself and my work accountable to eliminating and healing hatred. Otherwise, there's no point in my Buddhist practice. So dear friends, thank you so much for listening. And I now will pass over to John to talk about our mindful way forward. This is Andrew bowing out.
Matei, maybe we could have a bell. Just. Dear friends, dear Ty, thank you, Andrew and Matei. My name is John Bell. I'm sitting in the Boston area. It's a great day here. This is the traditional lands of the Wampanoag tribe. Thank you so much for your interest in earth holding and your commitment to our beloved earth. We'd like to share with you a tour, a little bit of Mindful Way Forward. I'm going to share my screen with you. So this iconic photo called Earthrise, taken from the moon, it gave us a whole new perspective on our home, a sense of humility and gratitude for the earth, the mother of everything that is on this earth. And we fell in love with our home in a new way. And Thai also reminds us of this. And there's so many examples of the awe and mystery and wonder of it all. Sometimes we bow before it, we feel small before it, we feel held by it. And in our deepest moments, we know we're not separate from it. And as Andrew was referring just a minute ago, our hearts ache with how much harm we've done to the earth and its beings. We can feel alternately sad and great guilty, regretful, powerless, overwhelmed, determined, all of which point to our need for practice so that we can heal and transform in order to be prepared to handle what is happening and what more will come. Because whatever happens next will be up to us. We're literally holding the whole world in our hands. And also, as Andrew was referring to, a few of the images of the things he was just talking about. The upper left is in South Africa, and Portland canoes blocking the oil ship into the harbor, Standing Rock on the upper right, Sudan in the lower left, Japan, all over the world, young people and indigenous people are rising up, protesting, mobilizing, legislating, doing civil disobedience, asking for transformational change. And this is the younger people's message to us. This is very true. It's in their hands, but it's in our hands also. And of course, there are organizations all over the world who are backing up these efforts, including Buddhist ones, which I don't have listed up here, like Buddhist Climate Action Network, One Earth Sangha, Buddhist Peace Fellowship, and the Earth Holders community. And like Andrew, I had a couple of quotes. Thai. The Pope saying there are not just two crises, there's one interwoven crisis that demands a common. There's the quote that Andrew read by Angel Kyoto Williams, linking climate change to racism. And finally, Thai, mindfulness must be engaged. Once there's seeing, there must be acting. Otherwise, what is the use in seeing? So enter the Earth Holders Sangha. It's a beautiful new logo. This Enzo and tree in the middle, I think, was designed by George Hogue. Thank you, George. An Earth Justice Initiative in the Plum Village community of engaged Buddhism, bringing mindfulness, compassion, healing, and nonviolence to protecting each other, all beings, and the earth. This is our new value statement, our message to the world in a short form. We asked ourselves, one second. We asked ourselves, the CTC asked ourselves 4 questions. What do we have to contribute as a Buddhist group? How could we support practitioners to become more engaged as earth holders? How could we grow the numbers and have a larger influence as a Buddhist voice for mindfulness, climate action? And how might we organize all this in our Mahasangha? So the Earth Holders commissioned a subcommittee of the CTC to look at a long-range plan to address these questions and to keep us grounded in the link between climate justice and racial justice in the way that Andrew was beautifully laid out earlier. We asked 3 additional practitioners of color to be part of this process since we were all white at that point. We spent months coming up with what we call a mindful way forward. It's good, it's holistic. I've outlined kind of 8 just bullet points about it. How do we deepen our own practice and actions, coming to love the earth, deepening the insight of interbeing and impermanence? How do we develop regional leaders who can do this work in localities and states, countries? How do we expand our total numbers? We have 350 now who are members of Earth Holders from before 12 to 1,500 on the mailing list, but they're not networked together. And there are 500 plus sanghas in North America alone, and 500 plus sanghas in other parts of the globe. We think that many, many people would like to be involved in climate justice work if we had a way of plugging in their spiritual community. How do we keep linking the climate and racial justice and social justice? How do we offer the mindfulness practice to the local climate justice efforts that are happening all around us? We have so much to offer. Participating in direct action, and eventually growing into be an effective force for mindfulness-based climate justice work. And we're trying to do this through building what we call a distributed network of earth holders to organize all this. We put it together in a logo here, again, thanks to George and Heather Mann for this representation with mindfulness practice at the base. A reminder that earth justice is the core, direct action along with collaboration, meaning both within our sanghas and mahasangha and also with the wider world. We'd like to just give you a little idea of what we are visualizing as our organizational relationships. So this is the great green earth and the tiny, tiny atmosphere that surrounds us in the blue, which is now being filled up by greenhouse gases. And in that, the earth holder community exists in our fourfold focus, and all of us will participate in different local and state regional activities in our sanghas and beyond. We'll come back to that in a moment. Right now, we have a CTC, which is kind of coordinating this. At the moment, we're pretty North America centric. We know that there's earth holding work happening all over the globe. We don't yet have the capacity to offer more than this kind of forum and resources, but eventually we will, and we'll be a global organization, I think. The CTC already has a lot of projects going on. Just to look at them, I don't know whether you can see this well on your screen, but we have a hub of communications. We have a team that's working on vegan and providing resources for us to become vegan. We have groups that organize the semi-annual Earth Holder retreats. We have this group that Nomi heads up, the monthly online Sangha, a Compassionate Right Action group. We're having a team we're creating an online retreat. So if you can't get to the Earth Holder in-person retreat, you can experience it virtually. Racial justice and climate work. This is not existing yet, but inner power for outer action. How do we deal with the feelings of despair and powerlessness that are wet blankets on our initiative and boldness and love? And finally, this community builders project. So this is going to be the next development of people who help build the Earth Holders work. We're going to put out an invitation soon, have 25 or 30 people of diverse backgrounds from around North America. And this is just an example. For instance, Andrew Rock, who I noticed was on the call, hi Andrew, is in Tampa, Florida. He's already working with a network of a couple hundred folks doing climate action work. Maybe he can start in Tampa and move out and create more work across Florida, develop other earth holding community builders there. We have somebody in New York who wants to do New York City and start there and maybe move out towards New England. The people in Minnesota who organized the retreat last August might want to start something locally there, maybe in Canada. Heather's in South Carolina might be able to move something there. We'll have some city-based earth holding projects, and eventually other countries. I've just listed the UK, New Zealand, and South Africa, where we know there is earth holding happening. We've also developed a way of organizing this called Basecamp, which I'll show you in a minute. But before that, I'd like to go back to the possible activities and just take a look at some of the things we might be able to do. These are just suggestive. So partly it's starting with our own practice. How are we learning to love the earth, dealing with the grief and despair? How are we working with our sanghas? How are we cultivating the insights of impermanence and interbeing in relation to climate? How are we engaged? The Then there's what we can offer in the local communities, maybe training local justice organizations in some of our mindfulness practice, participating ourselves in silent actions and compassion, writing love letters to editors and Congress people. Then there's individual actions, maybe sometimes group actions. Any environmentalist starts usually by falling in love because they love some part of the earth, something that nourishes them. We might be able to get involved in that. The third bullet, you know, the majority of people of color and low-income people live within a couple of miles of a coal-fired power plant, an industrial factory farm, or toxic waste dump, and have all those health issues and missing work and school issues. So supporting the shutting those down or the cleaning them up, one way to do earth justice work. And of course, we're not isolated. We're in a larger context where some of these other issues you might find your way in because you want to like do voting registration to have elect climate-friendly candidates. There could be lots of ways to find our ways into this. I'd like to just show you just a little bit. We've organized ourselves in Basecamp, which is a project management tool. I'm just going to show you this as it comes up. Plum Village has adopted Basecamp as their project management tool, and this is what ours looks like now. So without going into the specifics, because there's a lot of information, this will be the way we organize ourselves. You can see the teams which are more standing, ongoing things, the projects which may come and go. But right now, you can see the kinds of projects we have listed here. And these regions will be extended. Maybe there'll be hundreds of regions around the world eventually. And each one is a workspace for us. And I'm going to show you one that's going to be one for central for all of us right now.
John, this is
Yes.
new. We can't see what you're showing on Basecamp. All we see is how to engage with the Earth Holder community at the top of the screen.
Wonder, all right. So you can't see this.
It's a blank screen. It's blue, a lovely blue color with engage with the Earth Holder community at the top.
All right. Well, then I can't show it to you because it's going to take too much to get to it. But if you go on, so here's the last slide, how to engage with the Earth Holder community. The most important thing where you find all the information is to go to our newly constructed website that Heather is going to show you in a minute. She put a huge amount of work into developing this. And on that, you'll find ways to get to the Basecamp, which is our project management tool. And to do that, you'll have to request access to Basecamp. Otherwise, you'll be asked to open up an account, which you don't need to do because Plum Village already has a Basecamp account, which is paid for use of the whole community. You can also contact Simona, and she will put her email up on the chat in a minute. Then to review the Mindful Way Forward Action Plan, which is a multi-page Excel spreadsheet that shows in some detail the kinds of, it's sort of a menu of different ways to get involved, all the way from personal practice work all the way out to civil disobedience and electoral politics and how we fit into that. And after you review it, you might want to join a Basecamp project that's up there or propose your own, because maybe you find on the Mindful Way Forward plan, there's something that you have been thinking about, but we haven't thought of. This is kind of an open network. It only works to the extent that we all get involved and either pitch into something that someone else is doing or propose our own and get folks to work with us on this. Apply to be a regional community builder. Soon we'll have out a application. We'll do a training together, provides resources, ask people to do a day of mindfulness and do local actions to generate interest, to deepen practice, and to expand the numbers of people in engaged practice around earth justice work. And I think one of the most important things is for us to share on the Basecamp project, Mindful Hub, our successes. We need to inspire each other. ask each other questions, share resources. We are a tremendous worldwide network with a lot of know-how and insight and wisdom and experience to share, and that we can support each other that way. We have a Facebook page and the Mindful Hub Hub. So I would like again to thank you for your interest and your commitment to earth holding. And we hope that you feel excited and inspired enough to jump in with a little toe, both feet, or your entire body. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to now pass it to Heather, who will show you our wonderful new website. Bowing out, everyone.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. My name is Heather Mann, and I live just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. I practice with the Indigo Sangha, and I am aware that in my community, 40% of all African Americans came through our harbor. Their descendants, their ancestors, and that today climate is impacting people inequitably, because the folks who have means are able to remove themselves from hurricanes. They're able to protect their homes from flooding. And we're seeing a lot of people of color and marginalized folks that are living in rental apartments that are just filled with mold. I wanted to share my screen with you to talk about the Earth Holder website. And there we go. I hope you can see it. The Earth Holder community, this is our new website, and it has so very many things here that are available for your perusal. So if there's one thing that you walk away from today, I'd like you to know that the website is for you, that everything that we can imagine that you might need or benefit from has found a place here. And some of the information, for example, that has been shared today about all of the partner groups that we're finding that are very beneficial for us to link with, they're all here. And not all, but most are here that we're starting to discover. They all have live links. So you can go to any of these and learn more about them, and perhaps find a local chapter that you can join forces with. You'll also see this is our social media, and you'll be able to tweet on our Twitter, put in things on Facebook, or go to our online YouTube page and see all kinds of recordings that we believe are beneficial. The Mindful Hub that John was just speaking about, our base camp, is always right up here at the top of the page. And right here, you're going to be able to find lots and lots of information about the mindful way forward. There's a presentation very similar to what John has just given us. There is about the Distributed Leadership Network. There are descriptions here of the various skills that we're looking to build as Earth Holders. This is the way that our organization is. We're envisioning it being supported with Plum Village, with the Caretaking Council and the coordinator, with our community builders at the regional level, and then of course with our individual sanghas. And here, the Mindful Hub and Action Teams, this is where this link takes you now, to this page, because this is your instructions on how to get plugged into the Basecamp page. So what you want to do is email Simona, and you're going to write "Join the Earth Holder Mindful Hub" in the subject line. And then we'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. If you could answer these 4 questions, we would be most grateful. And then Simona will indeed plug you into our Basecamp. And once you're on Basecamp, you'll be able to see those projects that John was talking about. Here is another reflection of those projects. We have Compassionate Direct Action, Regional Community Builders, Earth Holding and Racial Justice, the Earth Holding Monthly Online Sangha, Plant Powered People, communications, and our earth practice and action materials. And in each of these projects, you're going to see the person who is the point to help you plug into these committees. So you'll be able to reach out directly and say, I'd like to join this committee, and that's how you can engage. So there's a lot of information here. And again, both this link and this page will get you onto the base camp. If we look at the About page, you're going to see that not only are we rooted in the links of our Plum Village community, but here are some of the books that Thich Nhat Hanh has written for us that talk about our responsibility for earth holding and protecting. And the name Earth Holder itself is the Bodhisattva Dara Nimdara that Thai talks about, and he translates that as Earth Holder. He encourages us, all of us, to be Bodhisattva Dara Nimdaras, or Earth Holders. You'll see our core values that we stand for. And then there's so much more in the About section that I'll let you take a look at. Things about our caretaking council and staff. If you are having trouble at sleeping at night, there's our privacy policy. And on this page about earth justice, you're going to see much of what Andrew Deckert was just talking about with our teachers that are talking about the interconnection of racial, economic, social, and environmental justice. This first half of the web page is really a coming together of some of the most cutting-edge thinking about the interconnection of those. And then the second half of the page, to this end, it's us sharing what we have done so far. And we're offering this to be transparent. Certainly, there is more that we want to do. And so we encourage you, if you see other opportunities of things that we can do, please reach out to us and let us know. But we're offering this also as an inspiration so that maybe you can take a look at this and say, oh, you know, there's something that I can do in my life to help bring about this interrelationship and manifest economic, social, racial, and environmental justice. The support materials is another great place for you to visit. Here we have all kinds of resources for you to practice earth holding and protecting with your Sangha. For example, this 4 touchings of the earth is something that Nomi Green has created, which is a beautiful practice that you can share with your Sangha. If you're unfamiliar with what earth touching is all about, here's a link to a description on the Plum Village website. And if you are a little nervous about how exactly this should flow, you can click on this YouTube video and see Nomi herself demonstrating how to do the earth practices. So there are a number of handouts, there's artworks, you know, if you are doing a bit of mindful action, you can actually create a very large poster that makes Thich Nhat Hanh fully present in the action that we're taking. And there are Dharma talks and articles, all kinds of instructions on how to write skillful love letters to editors. And of course, here's a link to the detailed strategic plan of the Mindful Way Forward. The compassionate eating pages are actually authored by our subcommittee, the Plant-Powered Earth Holder people. And we are very grateful for their leadership in this. They actually meet monthly, and their next meeting is tomorrow. And if you're looking for people who can help support you to turn more towards a plant-based diet, then here's your Zoom link. Here are the times. And I know that you'll fully enjoy meeting this community and practicing with this community. Now, there is so much material in here: scientific studies, recipes, deep reflections on what it means to practice earth holding and protecting through our diet. And here you can get a sense of the kinds of recipes that are just based on cashews. I mean, there's literally dozens of recipes that are available to us to enjoy our journey with plant-based eating. The blog and the news page is really our most recent information that we have about what's happening in the world. And here, as opposed to what you might find on other news mediums, these are inspiring stories that can give us the information and the support we need in order to persist as Earth holders. There's articles, there's challenges that we can take either individually or as in a Sangha. There are retreats that we can become aware of and attend. There are calls to action. In addition to the blog, we also have our newsletter. This is something that can come quarterly into your inbox. And there's very easy to subscribe. There are, in a variety of places on the website, this Let's Talk button. And when you click on it, you'll see that you're brought to a form that asks a few simple questions, and then you can check whether you'd like to subscribe to the quarterly newsletter, whether you'd like to have notices of the monthly online Sangha, or whether you'd like to have more information about our online meetings, calls to actions, and a host of other activities that the Earth holders are involved in. So this is how you tell us how you'd like to be communicating with us as we go forward. If you'd like to take a look at the current issue of Touching the Earth, you know, it's beautiful, it's inspiring. There's a lot here to benefit and learn from. And you can also take a look at all of our past archived editions. If you'd like to have a submission to the newsletter as well, here's how you can do that. Our giving page, as you can imagine, is very important to us. It's how we fund the work that we're doing here. And I just want you to know that you can donate monthly by entering a dollar amount and clicking automatic billing, or you can donate once by clicking on this button, and it takes you to a PayPal page that allows you to either donate with a PayPal account or with a credit card. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible. Our Getting Involved page is a short and sweet summary of all the ways that we're sort of hinting at and describing here for how you might get involved. So this is a great place to start because it's got lots of information here. And here's also where you can get more information about our Mindful Way Forward strategic plan, or again, how to link to an action team. And then finally, but not least, we have the Earth Holder Online Sangha, which we are all a part of today. And this is a group that meets every Sunday, second Sunday of the month, I should say. Here are the times. And you can look at all of the past recordings on our YouTube website. And what's important about this is that we are wanting you to know that right here is the Zoom link for our meetings. So if you're ever wanting to join the online Sangha and you go, where is the Zoom link? You can always come to the website and go to the Earth Holder online practice page and find it here. So this is our new website. I encourage you to take a look. If there's anything that you would like us to know, here is Simona's email. Please reach out. Please let us know. And then finally, if you would like to share any stories or things that are happening with you or your Sangha, you can obviously share them in a blog submission so we can put them on our website. You can share them in Basecamp, as John mentioned. You can share them on our newsletter. You can share them on Facebook and Twitter. The conversation and the media platforms are wide open, and we look forward very much to hearing from you. Thank you very much. And I will now turn the conversation over to Nomi.
Thank you, Heather, and thank all of you who have shared. I'm just going to invite a bell for us to sit mindfully, catch our breath before we divide into Dharma sharing families. Friends, thank you for hanging in there with us as we run a little over. Stephanie and Daphne are going to offer a closing and a sharing of the merit. And please know that all of our online sanghas are online and you can find them on the YouTube channel. Heather pointed you in the direction of where to find that on the website, and that this one will be there as well to share with your sanghas.
Hello, dear friends. This is Stephanie and Daphne, who wanted to join me for sharing the merit. We want to thank you all so much for joining us today and for your earth-holding dedication. My heart feels very full being with you all today, and hopefully your hearts feel full as well. And I just wanted to extend the invitation from the Caretaking Council again to please join us. We know that you are there, and we are so happy that you are there, and we are excited to be working with you in our collective efforts in earth holding. And just remember also that the Caretaking Council is here for you, and we look forward to hearing from you. So I'll invite the bell 3 times and dedicate the merit of our practice and our being together today. May the merits of our practice benefit Mother Earth and all beings everywhere. Thank you, dear friends. May your day be well.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here. And we hope we will hear from many of you. To email Simona, who has put her email in the chat a number of times so that you can see where's the best spot for you to get involved. Thanks so much for being with us and being community together. Bye-bye.